everybody, to the, oh, yeah, sure. I'll pull up my agenda anyway. Now we're doing our org meeting first here. Yeah, no, I got a bazillion things to open up here too, so see how I do that in my hands. Open a new window. See, I wanted to have both laptop but now I'm back to my phone again because it hates me. So I'll get there. We'll get there. Hazel, I got this much, yeah. You could come up just a little bit. Yeah, do we have a public link as well posted? I got a text saying that they were having trouble finding the link to tonight's meeting.
Mayor Crane?
Yes, please.
I did send you a text.
Okay.
The public is not allowed to participate. That's why we have the live stream. So they have to go onto our website and connect to the portal, and then they can just watch. They're not allowed to participate.
Ah, there you go. So, go portal, live stream.
Yes, please.
All right, thank you. Says record up in my corner, so I'm thinking it's good. All right. That being said, let's roll ahead. It is 6:33, and I'm going to call this meeting to order. This is our annual organizational meeting held today, Monday, November 1st, 2021 at 6:30 p.m. But we're opening the meeting at 6:33. If you all have your agendas in front of you, because we have two agendas for tonight, we have the org meeting, and then we have our regular council meeting. So make sure you have your organizational meeting agenda in front of you. And we are going to go for an approval of the agenda 2.1. Can I get that? And I'm scrolling back here. Did I see Rab? Oh, Curtis, there you go. Councillor Dixon, motion to adopt the agenda for November 1, 2021. Anyone have any questions on that agenda before I call the question? All in favor, hands nice and high. Scrolling, that is unanimous. Everyone's good. All right, thank you. New business 3.1, Council Procedure Bylaw number 211118 to change the regular meeting dates and times and rescind bylaw number 21-1111. So you can open up that little document. I wish mine would, but it won't. Okay, here we go. All right, Council. So I will hand this off to Mr. Patience, who can stick handle it over to Lisa if he wishes, to give us a quick background on what we're looking at here, and then we'll have some discussion. Mr. Patience, over to you.
Thank you, Mayor Crane. So this has been the topic of discussion for a little while, and we have some inconsistencies between our terms of references and our procedural bylaw. You'll note we've proposed some amendments. One item that was sort of glaring was the fact that the procedural bylaw indicated that council meetings would be the first and third Mondays of the month. And then it went on to say at the inaugural meeting, council shall pick dates and times for council meetings, as well as DPAC and finance meetings. So we got contradictory statements in the bylaw. So I don't want to make this confusing. So suffice is to say this. What we're proposing as an administration is to move your council meetings to Wednesdays as opposed to Mondays. And several reasons for that, and not the least of which is gives the council a little more time to be able to read their agenda packages without having to spend their entire weekends on it, because typically they're not going out till Friday. Also, in an attempt to avoid cancellations and moving when you get Monday holidays like you do on Labor Day and May long weekend, etc. So that's the proposal. That's the red line changes that you see in that bylaw. Now, normally, this is something we would take to GPAC, but because we have an election year, these are terms and conditions for your meetings that should be set by the newly elected council. So, thusly, no GPAC, it comes right to your first organizational meeting. So we're proposing a change in council meeting dates. And we would also like to potentially open up the discussion about combining GPAC and finance. And perhaps the best methodology for that is to perhaps look to set up a GPAC meeting in the near future to have that conversation. And this would be in an effort to avoid duplicating items going to GPAC and council and then finance and council, and reduce the number of meetings that councillors are required to attend. So I don't want to confuse these GPAC, these finance items. So perhaps the best methodology for that is have by your procedural bylaw the requirement to set dates and times for council meetings, finance and GPAC. Although I will say this, that finance has a terms of reference that suggests they be held once a month unless canceled by the chair, with no dates and times. And GPAC is to be minimum 4 times a year. So you have those 3 items. The first one for council meetings you'll see as amended in your procedural bylaw, amended bylaw that you have before you, and the RFD that explains just what I ran through.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Waring, and everyone forgive me, I'm doing the scroll, so when I say I'm scrolling, I'm looking for your place in line, okay? So I saw Councillor Waring up there first. Go ahead, Councillor Waring, and then I have Councillor Gordon.
Winding the clock back about a year, we had this discussion in the previous council, and our recommendation was for Tuesday, but it was basically the previous CEO was very much against the idea, and we never proceeded with it. I'm very excited about moving it because, as you mentioned, we have public holidays on Mondays, so we have to move to Tuesday. And it also gives us those extra days to get things done before the meeting rather than working all over the weekend, reading stuff and researching. So I'm all in favour.
Excellent. Thank you, Councillor Waring. Councillor Gordon, you're up.
Yeah, unfortunately, my Foothills Regional Emergency Service Commission meets on Wednesdays. And that's at least five meetings a year. And looking at the calendar, there's only 3 Mondays of long weekends we have to deal with. So I'm not in favor of changing that.
Okay. Scrolling. Cindy, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just wondering I thought Black Diamonds were Wednesdays. So Jonathan, your emergency committee is at certain Wednesdays of the month, like
yeah, it's usually the 3rd or 4th Wednesday of the month, so we could make it work, I suppose. But Black Diamond is switching to Tuesdays as well. They've had some conflict with their different committees, so that's before Black Diamond. I don't know if they voted on that yet or not, but Black Diamond is getting prepared to move to Tuesday evenings.
Yeah, they haven't ratified it yet. There's a few conflicts on that as well, so I think it might be a bit of a debate going on again. So, Miss Brown, and then I'll go back. Or Cindy, were you finished?
Yeah, I just want to say Tuesdays I do a church youth group every week. So
yeah, Tuesday's no good for sure. Wednesday's the day we're talking about.
Yeah, and another note, if I can have a follow-up there, Mary Crane.
Yeah, go ahead.
If we go to Wednesdays, I know Tuesdays don't work for most people that are involved with the Lions Club because the Lions Club has their volunteer night on Tuesdays.
Right.
I just signed up to coach the under 13s, the Oilfield Sports Association, and the under 13s practice on Wednesday nights.
So another conflict. Okay. All right. Cindy, and then I'll go to Lisa.
Yeah. Sorry, just as a quick follow-up, I would not have volunteered for that if I knew we were changing meetings.
Okay. Okay, Cindy, you and then Lisa.
Thursdays work for me. Just throwing it out there. I don't know what to do. Either leave it Monday or, yeah.
Okay. All right. Lisa, and then Rob.
Thank you, Mayor Crane. We did receive notification from the town of Black Diamond that they have indeed changed their meetings. They held their organizational meeting and they have made that decision.
Okay. So that's done.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So they've moved to the first and third Tuesday of the month, regular 6:30 start. Is that right? Yeah. Okay. Believe so. Yeah. All right. Rob, go ahead.
My preference is Monday or Wednesday, and I'm fine with going to Wednesday. But we're not going to pick a day when it's going to suit everybody perfectly. But Wednesday'd be good with me. Monday's fine. I like the point of view that we would have a bit more time to go through agenda, prep work, etc. Like that might be not be a bad idea. So I'm good with changing it to Wednesday, but Monday works.
Okay, Councillor Dixon.
Just wanted to say that I have no preference either way. I'm good with either one. So,
okay, Councillor Martin.
I'm fine with either Monday or Wednesday, whatever works for everybody.
Okay, well, we've got. Let me just scroll here. Okay, so we've got two who are good with Wednesday, two who are good with either or, one who is definitely not good for Wednesday. One who could do a Thursday. I am good with a Monday or a Wednesday. And I'm kind of like Councillor Waring. I'd really kind of like to get to a Wednesday night, but I do have concern for Councillor Gordon if he's got those commitments for volunteering for sure. I don't think for us could be a problem. I think those could move to the end of the month. We're talking the first and the third Wednesday if we were to move to a Wednesday. Is that every Wednesday night you're volunteering for that? And is there any flexibility, Councillor Gordon?
Yeah, it's every Wednesday until probably at least March.
What time?
This first go round is 5:45 to 6:45.
So a 7 o'clock start would work for you.
It would, but I think for the rest of council, because we tend to have long meetings, that may not be fair.
The 6:30,
especially when we have closed sessions, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I hear you. Okay. Well, what do we want to do here, guys? Rab, go ahead.
My question to Councillor Gordon: does he have an assistant coach? If I have to pick between Monday and Wednesday, I would pick Wednesday, even though that's my poker night.
That's a big sacrifice. Councillor Gordon?
Yeah, that's not an apples to apples comparison. So with all due respect, I do have assistant coaches, but that's two ice times a month that I miss in practice with the kids, and that wouldn't be fair.
Coach, I guess.
Councillor Dixon?
I'm just wondering, would it be possible to just, Councillor Gordon mentioned there's only 3 or 4 Wednesdays, or Mondays rather, throughout the year that will be affected. Is it possible to just move those particular meeting dates to the Wednesday of that week?
Well, normally what we do is we just bump it to the next Tuesday. So the following stat holiday, the next available day is your council meeting. What we're trying to do here is move to a Wednesday because it gives administration time to prepare more effectively for the meeting. Mondays come in and they end up being like a Garfield Monday, right? Everybody hates Monday because it's just everybody's on guard for the entire day. all through the night into the council meeting. And it ends up that they end up working on Sundays in preparation and so on. So this is a big move to try and even out the balance of power if it were. So, Waring, thoughts?
Still good for Wednesday. You have to decide what's the priority in your life, whether it's being a councillor or being a coach.
Okay, Cindy? We'll come back around, Councillor Gordon.
I don't think that's a fair attack, Councillor Waring, on that one. Kids are.
Yeah, I was going to call point of privilege on that because that's out of line.
Yeah. Okay. I am wondering, Jonathan, if it's in town or why don't we do better at making our meeting shorter and start at 7:00 on Wednesdays? And if he has to be a little bit late for something, we would understand. It's only till March. I get where administration's coming from. Wednesdays are better for them. And I'm just wondering if we should make an accommodation for Jonathan so he can keep with his coaching.
I'd be fine.
Yeah, I'm just going to look really quickly at my schedule. Because just give me half a second.
Okay.
And I'll get back to that. So if you want to table this and move on to something else, our council procedure bylaw does allow us to table and move to resetting this item later in today's meeting.
Scroll back here. We can move on to, so okay, we're just going to, go ahead, Rob.
I'm not prepared to table. Let's deal with it right now. I'm good with Wednesday or Monday, but I understand where Vince's coming from. Tuesday, Thursday's probably out. And I'm sorry, but we're not going to ever find a schedule that's going to suit everybody. That's part of being a counselor. We've all found that out.
Okay, then someone better put a motion on the floor if they want to move ahead on something.
If I might, Mr. Mayor, you could defer the initiation of this. Black Diamond actually has deferred theirs till December. So their November meetings will remain as they are, and then starting December with their first meeting, they'll change their meeting times. You could do this as of January. Could do this as of February, just as a
as of a March.
Yeah.
Could do that. Yeah, that's not bad. That's a great idea. Why don't we do that and bump it into January? That way, Councillor Gordon can have a solid setup of his volunteer activities, utilize the assistant coach, and do a little bit of maneuvering in the meantime for the finish up. How about that, Councillor Gordon?
Yeah, I can work with that. I mean, this was dropped on my table at 4:00 today. I didn't see this come in until the RFD was committed. So that's why I've got my back up a little bit. I would not have volunteered for this if I had known that this was in the offing. So it's caught me a bit off guard. So, and just to clarify, when I talk about tabling it, that still has to be dealt with tonight, Councillor Rob. I just was looking for the information that I could give you a better answer to what my schedule is. So that's what we mean by tabling the motion. It still has to be dealt with during the meeting of the day. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Rob, give us a motion.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion that we conduct council meetings beginning in January on Wednesday evenings at 6:30. But until then, it stays on Monday till January 1st.
Okay.
Does that
first
make
and
sense?
Second, third.
And as Councillor Gordon said, I heard nothing about this till about 5 this afternoon. So it may have been discussed, but it wasn't discussed with me at all. So a heads up would have been kind of nice as well, but I'm fairly flexible because I'm retired, but that's not true of Councillor Gordon and so that people who work for a living. So for me, it's kind of easy. I think that's not a bad compromise, Councillor Gordon, because you'll have a chance to have 2 months to get to know your team and get your coaches working, and that maybe can work for you. I'm hoping. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I'm hoping it can work. So my motion, effective January, we have Wednesday meetings. Until then, we remain Mondays.
Okay, just to be clear, that's the first and third Wednesdays of the month, starting at 7 p.m. And then I'm going to go to Councillor Holiday for comment. Okay, Councillor Holiday.
I think you said 6:30, but I'm just wondering why we can't just motion it if Jonathan thinks he can get the information in a few minutes. If we don't, why don't we just table it for a few minutes?
Are you still working on that, Councillor Gordon? Okay. All right. Well, now that we've got a motion, we got to deal with the motion. Hazel, you're all good, I'm assuming. Oh, there you go. Okay, go ahead, Councillor Martin.
Just one question. If we start at 7, does that mean that we will still just go to 10?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Anytime we go to a meeting that maxes out at 10, we have to make a separate motion to prolong the meeting.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, let me just scroll back here.
You got the in-cameras.
When we got the in-cameras, we'll just have to start early. That's it. We got to go with the majority, right? I mean, that's the whole process here. Okay, Councillor Gordon, go ahead.
Yeah, it looks like it's every Wednesday at 5:45 to 6:45.
Every Wednesday, like 4 a month. Bang, bang, bang.
Yes, sir.
Ooh, that's tight. Okay. Well,
so
it is a compromise.
It is what it is. So
yeah.
councils will determine my next steps.
Yeah. Councillor Holiday.
Where is this practice at, and can you make it back by 7 or online?
It's in Black Diamond in the outdoor arena, so we should be good.
Yeah.
So you can make
tight.
7.
It'll be tight, but I'll do my best to be there for 7.
All right. And are you happy with the January start date on this, or earlier?
Well, that does give me time to get to know the team and to give instruction to the assistants on what I'd like to see done that evening with the young people. So to jump into it next week, I think would be terribly unfair, and I would have to back out as the head coach. That would be unfair to the players and to the coaches and to the association. So I think the compromise is January, and if I need to step out then, so be it.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you. Any further discussion? First and third Wednesdays of the month, starting in January, regular council meetings starting at 7.
So 7 is an amended motion then? Is that what I hear? You guys amended the motion because I had said 6:30.
Did you say 7?
I'm okay with 7. I can amend it. That gives Jonathan, that's pretty flexible then.
If you could, that would be good.
Yeah, we can always look at.
You muted yourself. You muted yourself.
I said we really could go back to 6:30 effective April, but that would require an amendment. Is that a possibility, or are we just stuck with 7?
I'd go to Lisa on that one.
Thank you.
You muted yourself too.
Arg. Oh, there we go. Sorry. You can leave it at 7 if you wanted to start early. I would just say, just because of advertising and keeping the public on pace, you might want to just leave it at 7 starting January 1st.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and with that, and seeing no further hands, all in favor of the motion? Hands high. And let me scroll. And those opposed? Thank you. And the motion is carried. Okay. There we go. Thank you. Thanks for the discussion. Thanks for the compromise, councillors. And we will see how this all plays out in January. Okay. 3.2, a CAO performance review policy number MP.E.09.19. Councillor Martin, go ahead.
I just have a comment on it's just a minor thing.
Yep.
on item under public hearings. It's item number 25, public hearings, item number 3. It's just a comment. It says acknowledgement of written submissions received by the municipal clerk by 5 p.m. on the day preceding the public hearing. The office is closes at 4. Should it be 4 o'clock instead of 5 o'clock?
Okay, you've totally lost me on where you're at.
Mr. Mayor, I can probably help you. She is looking at your procedural bylaw.
Yes.
So,
well,
and
we're there. 1 second.
Page 20.
Page 22.
I have page 20.
I got page 18.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, public hearings, part number 25.
1 second. Okay, go ahead.
25A4. Acknowledgement of written submissions received by the municipal clerk by 5 p.m. the day preceding the public hearings. And as Councillor Martin said, the office is actually closed at 4, so perhaps you might want to fine tune that, is what her recommendations are. I have no trouble with that.
So,
I kind of just jumped the gun and went to 3.2 thinking we were done with the entire 3.1. So my bad, backing up, going to Councillor Martin. She's still working where we're supposed to be. That's why I lost her.
No.
Okay.
It's just a comment. That's all it is.
Yeah, no, and that's good. And Mr. Patience is going to comment back to it. So, Mr. Patience, floor is yours.
Yeah, I can see Lisa's hand flaring there too. So,
okay.
Yeah, we got way off track there, kind of. So, what we had actually put in front of you was a bylaw amendment, and it kind of just got sidetracked into a motion to change meeting dates and times. What Councillor Martin is pointing out is correct, and I perhaps could stall this entire conversation by just suggesting that we take the procedural bylaw to GPAC for review. We still need dates and times, although we haven't really set them for GPAC and finance. And I would like to discuss the disposition of those as well. So Lisa, maybe you want to weigh in a little here. What you put forward was an RFD for a bylaw amendment. What we got was a motion, which is okay, but now we'll need to amend that bylaw to facilitate that motion. So do you want to add anything to that, Lisa?
If you could.
Thank you, Council. The reason for the RFD was to amend, of course, the bylaw. If you look at Section 5, there's some inefficiencies and duplications. So we just wanted to make it clear that you set your meeting dates and your times at your inaugural meeting, which is this one, the organizational meeting. We had requested that the bylaw be given 3 readings so that we could put this into full force and effect as of January 1. However, having said that, because you haven't put a reading forward, you can direct administration to bring this back to a future meeting, whether it be GPAC or your next regular meeting. As it stands, we don't have any GPAC meetings scheduled, which, of course, if you look at your procedures bylaw, that's what you're supposed to do as well. That's pretty much my weigh in on this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, the GPAC we've been holding quarterly has been the goal, as well as the finance committee, and then the finance committee would meet as required. I believe Councillor Holiday as well. So, so we do have a bit of a conundrum, but I would like to give this a bit more of a detailed overview. And if that is at a governance and priorities meeting, then that's fine by me. I don't know how council feels. Looking, scrolling here. Anyone? See, Hazel gives it a thumbs up. Councillor Gordon and Councillor Holiday.
Yeah, I'd like to take this to a governance and priorities meeting as well, because if I'm not mistaken, when we go through the committees, you're going to notice on the CAO review, we actually have the mayor and 3 councillors, when the actual terms of reference say the mayor and 2 councillors. So we're going to have to review it all and kind of clean it up a bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wanted to get a third one in there for the review committee. So yeah, I agree. Councillor Holiday?
Yeah, I thought in this update you were taking out, like, not even saying in the meeting or in the bylaw when the meetings would be held. It was just eliminating it, and it's just saying that it's set at, our org meeting. So I don't have any problems with the changes, but if there's other things that everyone wants to look at, I'm fine with taking it to GPAC, but I'm also fine with the intent of what they were trying to do right now. So.
Okay, scroll here. Go ahead, Councillor Gordon, and then
just as a quick follow up. It wouldn't be the terms of reference for the CAO review committee we'd have to look at. It's the next item here that is dealing with the CAO, the policy itself, the CAO performance evaluation 3.1.3 that we would need to amend to indicate the mayor and at least 2 councillors, and that gives us an option to have more. But I'll defer to you, Mayor, whether or not we want to do with it now in JPAC or in the next item.
Now I'm scrolling to see where you're at. Councillor Dixon, and then Councillor.
So that would be page 23 of the agenda package. Yeah, page 23 of the agenda package, page 1 of the CAO performance evaluation policy.
It just seems to me that there's enough things that have popped up here that it probably should go back to GPAC for further review. It seems to me that there's a lot of questions. My opinion. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Hazel, Waring, good. GPAC. Waring, go ahead.
I've got no problem, but we don't know when the next GPAC is, and it could be in January. So,
yeah, I think we got to set that date.
Why can't we just do this at the next council meeting? Scheduled meeting.
Yeah. Yeah, we could have some time there. I'd be fine with that.
So,
okay, scrolling. Yeah, go ahead, and then I got Cindy.
If I might, Mr. Mayor, that is exactly one of the reasons we wanted to talk about amalgamating finance and GPAC into a committee of the whole, just to avoid that exact type of duplication, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're certainly happy to bring this back, whether you wanted a council or GPAC. Happy to do that. It does need to be cleaned up without question, just to remove the Mondays, first and third Mondays out of there, and to ensure that you're scheduling meetings at your org meeting, that they're not derived from your procedural bylaw. So we've got a couple of items to clean up, and as Councillor Martin points out, the change of time, some minor amendments like that. So happy to do it whichever way you would like, GPAC or council.
Okay, Councillor Holiday.
Yeah, I think with the amendment that Councillor Martin mentioned and the ones proposed by admin, I'm happy with just doing first reading. So I'll put forward the motion on it to do first reading of 21-1118. And then ask for it to be brought back to the next council meeting.
With the amendments.
With the amendments.
Yeah, perfect. That's great. That's an excellent idea.
It was done quite recently. So I think the rest of it's good. If there's any other little things, I'm sure admin will point them out. I do have an answer for Councillor Gordon on the CAO review, but I'll save that till later on because I know what happened there.
Yeah, next item coming up. So, okay, perfect. I love it. Give it first reading with the amendments suggested, and when we get it back, we'll see more red lines, and then we can have another vetting before second. Okay, perfect. All in favor of the motion? Hands high. And that is carried unanimously because, oh, there you go, Rab. Right on. Perfect. Okay, excellent. Thank you. Thank you for that, Councillor Holiday. Let me scroll back up here. Okay, now 3.2, CAO performance review policy. So you can open that one up now. Now, Mr. Gordon and Mrs. Holiday. Who wants it first? Go ahead, Gordon.
Actually, I was going to defer to Cindy since she had the answer to what I was asking.
All right, go ahead, Councillor Holiday.
Yeah, it's part of the committee and board appointments. When we were discussing, we had a few people that were interested in being on the CAO committee, and Crane, you had put down 4 names with a question mark by Jonathan because he was the last one to say he was interested in, but then they just all got put on. You never want to have a board with 4 people on it for voting. It sucks. So you need to keep it to 3. So somebody needs to fight out.
Also, 4's a quorum for a council meeting, and you don't want meetings of.
Yeah, that's it.
Quorum.
That's right. As a council meeting making decisions.
Good point. Okay, so when we get to that on the org chart, we'll vet it right there.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. Is that good for you, Gordon?
Yeah, that's the right process to follow. Do we need to get a motion here that will accept this CAO performance review policy number MPE 09.19 as presented?
That would be perfect. I see nothing on here that needs amending. I'm just going to scroll over.
Yeah, we don't need an amendment to that. That's your information.
Yeah, there's no amendment. No. It's just straight up adoption.
No, it's just for your information, Mayor Crane.
Yep.
I think what Lisa's telling you is you need to do a CAO review at some point.
Yeah. 2 months. We're gonna put you on the hot seat. Just giving you a 2-month warning. I think that's pretty good.
We're looking forward to it too, Mr. CAO.
Yeah. So yeah, just an acceptance for information and Councillor Gordon.
Works for me.
Okay. Excellent. So 3.2, all in favor except for information. Hands high while I scroll, and that is carried. Thank you. Excellent. All right. Moving on. We have the appointment of the deputy mayor. So, council, just to give you a quick once over here. Of course, we have every 6 months is what we have written. And when you do 6 months on a 4-year term, you end up with duplication of someone. So what I've asked for here is for Councillor Holiday for the next year. If we continue past that with amalgamation in the works, then we will fall into the rhythm of the 6 months rotation with another double term for someone on the end. I believe that the math works out correct. Is that right? I think so. So that's if we end up with a 4-year term. So Deputy Mayor Cindy Holiday for November 1 to October 31 of 2022. And then we have council appointment of blank as deputy mayor for the term November 1, 2021. What? Does that duplicate? Never mind. Option 1. Thank you very much.
I'll give you that.
Thank you.
I'll give you that motion.
Thank you, Councillor Waring. Any debate on that? Seeing none. All in favor of deputy mayor appointment? Thank you, and that is carried. All right, perfect. Okay. Sometimes I read too much in the agenda, and then you end up looking like that. Okay. Signing authority on behalf of the municipality. Here we go. Mr. Patience, mayor, deputy mayor, and we usually like to have Councillor Waring as our 100% go-to, kind of like an eternity signer. He's there forever. So I would like to keep that same status, council. I asked that because Waring is available quite often when I may not be, or Cindy may not be. He is the most reliable in-town person and consistently has shown up to fill that void over the last 7 years when needed. So that would be my ask, is that we have Deputy Mayor, and Councillor Gordon as the signing authorities. Councillor Martin, go ahead.
Can I make that motion?
You can. So you can read it off, whichever option you want, just add the names.
That council authorizes Mayor Barry Crane, Deputy Mayor Cindy Halliday, and Councillor John Waring as designated signing authorities on behalf of the town of Turner Valley for the term of November 1 of 2021 to October 31st of 2022 in accordance with Section 2134A of the Municipal Government Act, RSA 2000, Chapter M-26.
Perfect. Excellent. Thank you. Any questions on that? I think that's clear as sand. Councillor Halliday, go ahead.
Just want to make sure that Waring's is still okay with that, since you don't get paid for it. He's been doing it a long time, so.
It's amazing the number of things we don't get paid for.
Happy, I'm giving you an out.
Yeah, that's a good one. All right. Thanks for thinking about his pocketbook there, but he's retired and he's an engineer, like big money in the bank there. All right. All in favor of the appointment? And scrolling, and that is carried. Thank you, everybody, for unanimous.
That's why I can vote on this, because it's not a pecuniary advantage.
That's right. Okay, here we go. So, appointment of council members to boards, committees, and commissions. Now, just scrolling. Let's start off this way. Is there anybody? So, of course, I met with you all one-on-one, had some conversations around what you'd like to do, where you'd like to be, what you'd like to work on. We did an order of back and forth, a little bit of trading, and I think we came up with some solid representation here. Is anyone having sober second thought on the committees that they have been appointed to under this chart, Schedule A? We'll deal with the CAO one here in a second, but first of all, let's just see if everyone is kosher with where they're at. Councillor Waring, go ahead.
Need to add Councillor Martin's name as the alternate for West End. That's what we did last time with Lana, because she was on Shruck, and there's only 2 on West End.
And is this a new thing that they want an alternate now, or
well, we missed that last term that we'd have the same people on West End as we would have on Shruck. There's 3 people on Shruck and only 2 on West End, and we need a deputy on not a deputy. We need an alternate for West End, and I just suggesting that the person who's on Shruck should be the same as West End.
Okay, Councillor Gordon. Yep. Thank you.
Yeah, that was the question I was going to ask. Was this an addition? We haven't had an alternate before. The only reason I asked that, having alternates is very challenging for the alternate to come in and not necessarily be fully aware of the past events. And then if something important has to be decided, it puts that alternate in a challenging place. My opinions on alternate, it hamstrings the alternate. And I'm not a fan of having them. I'm just wondering why it was required when we haven't had it before.
It's required because it's the bylaw of West End. It's also been appointed by Black Diamond, have an alternate. And we decided as a committee that we would include the alternate in all correspondence, copies of agendas, copies of meetings, emails, and everything else. So when they do come, they'll know what's going on.
Okay. Councillor Rath.
Yeah, the reason this came up is because we changed our bylaw last fall. West End now has a new bylaw, and prior to that bylaw, there was only 2 members of West End, no alternates. But the new bylaw has asked for an alternate, and I understand Councillor Waring, where he's saying that in the past, the third person on Shruk was also the alternate on West End. But I feel very strongly, with no disrespect to Miss Martin, Councillor Martin, that maybe with the $17 million project, this is a huge project for our little towns. I would like it to be the mayor or the deputy mayor, probably the mayor, because I think it's important that he stays up to speed. Councillor Gordon, I know what you're saying about not being in the loop if you're in this situation as an alternate, but Heather Thompson is the alternate for Black Diamond, and she sat in for the regular member last time, and she said, I want to be included in all correspondence. In other words, all emails that go out, all copies of minutes, any things that to do with MP, etc., all goes through to the 2 members of the West End plus the alternate. And I really feel that this is a huge project, and I think the mayor should be kind of appraised to what's going on at all times. That's my opinion, and that would be the best way to keep him appraised. So, sorry, Councillor Martin, but that's sort of where I'm coming from, and I'm not trying to, as I say, slight that, because in the past it's been Councillor Hamilton who was on Shruk, but also the alternate here. But I think it's so important, this project, and maybe another set of eyes and the knowledge of the mayor would be really important. That's my opinion for what it's worth.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor Rapp.
Assuming the mayor might be interested in doing that, I'm not sure.
Yeah, no, that actually sounds very reasonable, especially with the big project. I see you, Councillor Martin, but Gordon was in front of you, so I have Gordon, then Martin.
Yeah, that puts my heart to rest a little bit, having that much detail and all that information given to the alternate. That is such a key element, especially when we're looking at such a major project ahead. And I have no preference whether it's the mayor or Hazel, but on such a thing like this, I think the mayor should be appraised after every meeting because he is the spokesperson. And when we're going to be requesting such a potential amount of money to be debentured and then passed on to the ratepayer, the mayor needs to be abreast of that the minute the meeting closes. That's my opinion.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Councillor Martin.
No, I'm fine. I'm totally fine with it. I totally agree with all your decisions. Yes, somebody sitting there that has been more involved. I'm totally fine with that.
Thank you, Councillor Martin. Oddly enough, I agree. I haven't sat on West End yet because Waring always says, I want West End, so I have to renege to him. But that being said, I do like the way that this alternate is set up in terms of all the correspondence being shared. It really does make the job easier because then you can just do your reading and wait for your turn to be called upon if needed. So I would definitely take that appointment. So let's throw me in for that one, and we'll take care of that. Okay, so I will go as the alternate for West End. I see Foothills Regional Emergency Services, Councillor Gordon, no name for an alternate. Do you guys have a need for an alternate? You don't?
No, that's not in our bylaws. It's one of those, it's an odd committee. I'm not going to lie. It's an odd commission because there's so much historical data. It's taken me 4 years to get up to speed. And that's not especially when we've gone back and forth about the AHS delivery of ambulance services and the dispatch and now the overall management. It's taken me 4 years to actually source out the information and get it set in my mind. So, I really look forward to working with our emergency services here with, as we discussed in our meeting there recently. So that's looking forward to that opportunity to support our local ambulance services here. Not just them, but the entire emergency team.
Yeah, no, that's a whole nother ball of wax, but I think as a province, we need to look at the actual proper funding of the model. And if it costs money, then we need to solve that equation, right? So, but I'm sure there's lots more to follow on that. Okay, moving on down the line, I don't see any other blanks other than Schrock, but there's no alternates for that, if I'm not mistaken. Correct, Councillor Waring? Right, good.
That's correct.
Okay, so then it comes down to the CAO review. We have myself as mayor, I have to be on it, as the main point of contact. Then we have Gordon, Holiday, and Rab. Now, we can do this the official way, or we can do it by rock, paper, and scissors. I'm totally joking, of course. I thought that would be very humorous and I'd get great laughter, but everyone forgot to unmute while they were giggling, and it ended up just a dead silence for me on stage. That's just no fun. Councillor Gordon, give us your thoughts.
Yeah, I'd love to be on this review. Part of my role outside of work is with the Learning and Development team with one of Canada's largest brokerages, and that team overall is part of our people and culture. So I work in tandem with our HR team. So I think I have a little bit of experience that could be useful when it comes to our CAO review.
Absolutely. Well, we know that we've had last year was Rab and Lana, I believe, was correct, Rab? And Rab is a plethora of knowledge, obviously being, 85 years old. Rab, why don't you give us your solid points? Then we're going to get Cindy's solid points.
Well, I'd sure like to be on that. I mean, I was involved in the hiring process, and I'm very happy about that. I've been on that ever since we started. So, I've been on every CEO review, so I'd like to stay on. That said, I guess we'll have to deal with it. But I'd sure like to stay on.
Okay.
If possible.
All right. Cindy, let's hear you sell it.
I'm too nice, and they really want it. So they're letting me be last. I'll step down.
Well, I think you should use this as a blackmail and get something else on this chart that you might want.
Well, she does. She's on 4 as the main already outside of this one, right? So
is Gary. But
wow, because this only made my 4th, right?
Yeah. So no, I'm fine.
Are you sure, Cindy?
Yeah, as long as you
I could
make sure that you're listening to counselors and get our feedback, and that's all I ask.
Here's what we'll do next term. So next year when we do this, Cindy goes on for sure. Right? Yeah, go ahead, Rob. Yeah.
Yes, I think that I should step off if Jonathan wants to be on, mainly because we have no gender balance here. That would leave 3 guys, and I think Cindy's perspective would be great. I've also had a chance to operate with Deputy Mayor Holiday in the past on a CA review, and I know she's very thorough and does an excellent job. So if you have to bump somebody, regrettably, it might be me.
I think I have a large sword here.
Sorry, CAO Sean, I'd love to be able to say good things about you, but I guess I have to defer to everybody else.
Are you saying you're going to jump on the sword, Councillor Rob?
I guess somebody has to, so have to me. We have to have gender balance, like where Trudeau has gender balance, of course.
The gavel
so it's over. It's over. I'll drop me
Very well. Okay, well, you know what? I appreciate you with stepping down and taking that perspective, because that is a very important designation to have that equality in representation. So thank you for that. That being said, you will be missed, but you're not far away when we have questions and we want to run things past you. And of course, the CAO Review Committee is only working in the interest of Council, and everything that we discuss there, of course, we brought back to Council to be vetted by Council first before we go to the CAO. So Councillor Rab and the rest of Council will have opportunity to interview the CAO Review Committee to ensure that we have done our job. And only then do we go forward to the CAO with the rest of the information. So, again, thank you, Councillor Rob. I hope you didn't turn off your camera because you're shedding a tear. All right. Let me go back here. Okay. All right. So, Cindy, you have won. And Councillor Gordon, you have won. Do we have any other appointments on Schedule A that anyone wants to challenge? Now is your time to talk. Seeing none, I'm going to take a motion to adopt Schedule A as amended tonight. And Hazel, just so you know, I was going to fight you on the library because I really, really like the library, but I gave it up for you, so it's all yours. Okay. Councillor Dixon, was that a head nod for the adoption?
I'll make the motion to adopt.
Okay, so we're going to have a motion to adopt Schedule A, Council Boards, Committees, and Commission Appointments as amended this evening, November 1st, 2021. All in favor? And I see hands, and I see hands. Thank you very much. Again, thank you, Councillor Rob, for stepping down for that one. Yeah. I'll let you drive to Edmonton. Okay, thank you. Moving on. Do we have appointment of members at large, boards, committees? Is that our next one? Just to be sure. Miss Lisa Brown, would you like to lead this one off? Only because I'm working off of two screens and your name is here, not Sean's.
Well, if Sean wants to speak to it, he's more than welcome to.
Is he swinging his hand at me?
Not yet.
Nah, he's going to let you. He's going to let you.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor Crane. So we did advertise. We had a couple positions vacant. We have some others. We are just sorting through some of the vacancies that we do have existing at this time. These are two important ones, mainly because SDAB, it's required training, and MPC, we are short 2 members. So we need to get some people appointed to these 2 boards. We will be in the future bringing some more vacancies forward. These were the only 2 applications we received, as you see in the RFD. Mm-hmm. I spoke to former Councillor Jamie Wilkie, and he is more than willing and would prefer to sit on MPC. I think he would be a great fit.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure you probably agree because he has been involved with this before. And we also received another application from a fellow from Calgary. He is currently in the process of moving closer to Turner Valley. He is a planner. He's got all his certification in planning, and he wants some experience working with some local boards. Now, having said that, we haven't received any other applications. We haven't received any other applications, so I believe he would be a good fit for the term of 1 year. Any questions?
So is there any restriction on who can sit on this board? Do they have to be a resident of the town, or can they be from anywhere?
Because it's an intermunicipal subdivision and development appeal board, which means we have partnered with both Longview and Black Diamond. There are no restrictions for residency. Each council is privy to appoint whoever they please.
Has that changed then? Because the MPC used to be separate from the other board.
MPC is a different entity. MPC, the bylaw is a little bit different, and the reason Jamie can't sit on both is because if you sit on MPC, you're not eligible for an SDAB, and that's through the MGA. We're governed by that, of course. So he happily accepted the MPC appointment if council so chooses. The SDAB, of course, it's like I said, you have to take training to be certified, and that's through Municipal Affairs. And it's an extensive course. It's three-hour modules, which Mr. Chris Sargent is willing to do and accept as part of his appointment. Because it's an intermunicipal, what happens if we get an appeal is the clerk in the specific community is in charge, and we contact the other members to make sure we have a full board. Everybody has to be certified before you can attend a hearing.
So sorry, but I'm a bit mixed up in this one. So Mr. Wilkie is applying for both boards and Mr. Sargent for just one.
Mr. Wilkie did apply for both, but he is only eligible for one or the other. You cannot sit on both.
That's what I thought, because on the heading of this, it has him down as both.
It does.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I'm getting confused from.
Oh yeah, no. Wilkie for MPC, Chris Sargent for ISDAB is the motion.
That's why I asked.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let me just scroll, and then I'm going to speak to this for a second. Okay. So with the ISDAB, back 2 councils ago, we had members of the town at large. It was very difficult to retain people and keep them active because it meets so seldom. It might only meet once every 2 years. Like, it's very seldom does it meet, only when there's an appeal. So then it turned into a regional where we had a member from Black Diamond, Turner Valley, Longview, and the MD. That got a little bit better. Then there was a bit of burnout because it didn't meet, so people just kind of let it drop away. So having someone from outside the community is not uncommon in an appointment. He's got a planning background, this Mr. Sargent, so that's good. When we have a subdivision appeal, it's good to have people who aren't like living next door with a NIMBY attitude, like, not in my backyard. You're not building that tree house. No way. It's taking away my view. So it's good to have that outside perspective coming into the community and just looking at the facts of how something was approved. Was there any shortcuts taken, and so on and so forth from a legal perspective. So I have no problem moving ahead with the recommendation for Wilkie for MPC. I think that's a great call. And this Mr. Sargent to the ISDAB as the other appointment. So that's my take on it, just for everyone's own notification. But if you have any other thoughts, Ms. Brown, go ahead.
And just to follow up on that, Mayor and Council, we are also a part of an intermunicipal ARB board, assessment review board. So we pull in people from the Calgary Airdrie. Airdrie actually looks after it. So we can pull in anybody within the region. So having somebody who is from Calgary or, a neighboring community who's interested and is willing to take this training is not an unusual thing. There are several regions in the province that have gone intermunicipal. I worked in one previously in the Hinton area. We had an intermunicipal just because Grande Cache was so remote, and finding people who were willing and able to take training was an onerous task. So being able to draw on additional resources is very much a good thing.
Indeed. And just scrolling, I just want to point out that Ms. Brown did a great presentation there where she included so many acronyms. I actually saw Curtis, Councillor Dixon, sweat. She said that there's an ARB in place within the MGA. We have the MPC requiring the ISDAB, and you can't sit on both, so you must pick one, and it has to be an intermunicipal collaboration. So that's an ISF. A lot of acronyms to learn in your first year, so be sure to ask, what is that you're actually referring to when you hear so many acronyms? Just say, can you say what that is? And then it'll take a while. It's pretty funny, actually. I can remember that. Okay, Curtis, go ahead.
I just would like to say that I support both of these appointments. We're definitely excited to get a chance to meet with Mr. Wilkie. I know him fairly well, so I'm looking forward to that, being on that commission myself. And looking at Mr. Sargent's background, I think he'd be an excellent fit for that particular.
So that's your motion.
I guess that's my motion. Yes, my motion is
make it so.
The council appoints Jamie Wilkie to the Municipal Planning Commission with a term expiry of October 2022, and that council appoints Chris Sargent to the Intermunicipal Subdivision and Development Appeal Board, or ISDAB, with a term expiry of October 2022.
You're fitting right in there, buddy.
Right.
Perfect. Excellent. I will accept that motion. Any further debate? Councillor Holiday first.
It was Gary first, and
Was that
probably about the term expiry.
No, it's neither of that. The reason I was calling time because Lisa's calling time. So Lisa has something to say prior to making this motion. So I'm just trying to get your attention.
There you go. Okay. Lisa, go ahead.
Sorry, Mayor Crane and Council. If Council would please make those two separate motions, it would be appreciated.
Okay, no problem. And did you want the expiry in there? Because I don't want the expiry in there if we could help it.
No, because this will come up for review at the next organizational meeting.
Okay, so just a recommitment at that time.
Correct.
Okay. All right. So, Councillor,
so you never know.
Sorry. Thank you, Councillor Dixon. We'll take your first appointment of Wilkie to MPC, and we'll leave it at that. Friendly amendment. Perfect. Okay. So we're going to vote on Wilkie for MPC. Everyone, all in favor? Warren, get your hand up. Okay. Here we go. And that's carried unanimously. Thank you. And could I get another motion, Mr. Rabb, for Mr. Sargent? Here.
You're muted, Mr. Councillor Rabb.
Well, that's good. You didn't hear me do a very bad job of the motion. Then I can start over and do sound better. That council appoints Chris Sargent to the Intermunicipal Subdivision and Development Appeal Board with the term expiry of October 2022.
And Deputy Mayor, you may want to take over as it looks like Mayor Crane's connection is lost.
Is that what happened? Okay. Yeah, thanks for making that motion, Councillor Rob. And can I call for a vote? All in favor?
Barry's just coming back here. You might want to hang tough. There you go. Sorry, Deputy Mayor, didn't mean to interrupt.
Okay, did that pass? Rab, did you make the motion?
We'll try and get you back up to speed. You just disappeared on us. So the deputy mayor took over like she should have done, did a great job. We all voted except you because you were still incognito, but now you're back. Yes, it passed.
He has to vote, by the way.
He has to vote though, yes. It's for Chris Sargent.
Yeah. Are you in favor of that, Barry?
I sympathize. I was there last week doing what he's doing. You're still muted, Mayor Crane.
I was saying everyone sounds like they're whispering, so it's very hard. But Cindy, were you going to comment?
Yeah, I'm just wondering, you need to vote on that. I think Sean was saying. So were you in favor of Chris Sargent on?
Oh, yes.
Yes, okay. So
yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's what I mean. It sounds like everyone's whispering. I might have to sign out and sign back in. But let me just bring everyone in closer here. Okay. I think that's it for that agenda, is it?
Yes.
Okay, so what we're going to do, guys, let's take, we'll take a 5 minutes. I'm going to sign back in. Everyone take a bio break, and then we'll get going on our second agenda, our regular business meeting agenda. So we're keeping on this link. Is that right?
There were some 7.1 and 2, some conventions. I'm at the end of the agenda. 7.1.
Yes. So conventions, conference, obviously we're all going to be doing the AUMA. This year, I would like to attend the Federation of Canadian Municipalities. So there is a bit of discussion on that. And because it's in Regina, that's why. Normally they're out in Ontario. That's a little too ridiculous. But Saskatchewan's actually achievable. Councillor Rabb, go ahead.
I'd also like to join you in Regina. It's a place I'm quite familiar with. So that
you can drive.
Fun. As you say, normally it's out east. This time it's out west.
Yeah.
As long as I can drive.
Right. Ms. Brown, go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt, Council. The reason I put these on here, the AUMA, I just confirmed your hotel reservations. So I'll be sending those out to you shortly, probably tomorrow or Wednesday for sure.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And then, I mean, there's no link, but for the FCM, we've got time for registrations, I assume. Yeah, I'm assuming there's head nods. Go ahead, Councillor Dixon.
Yeah, I would like to, if possible, I was going to ask if everybody could attend that or if it was open. I would certainly like to attend that one as well. It's close to my home area. So
for the FCM, that's the Federation of Canadian Municipalities. So in 8 years, I've never attended. I don't think anyone on Turner Valley Council has actually. So that one is for all across Canada. So the fact it's in Regina is actually the only reason I'm going to go because it's close enough to actually attain. But yeah, so we have a councillor training budget. So what you want to do is you want to balance out your conferences versus training courses that you want to take. So if it's in your budget, then you can say, yeah, those are my two priorities I want to attend. Then that's where you go. Once you max out that budget, then you kind of got to go begging. Hey, can I go?
And it will cost you.
So but we'll get costs and all that breakdown, and we'll have AUMA here in a month's time. Not even, actually 2 weeks time. So that'll give you a taste of what it's like, right? FCMM, I can imagine, is quite similar, just larger. So, anywho, any other comments on that one? So, Curtis, you can find that out as we go along. Councillor Rapp.
One advantage is the AUMA's 2021 budget. The FCM is 2022 budget. That said, we don't usually spend max out because of the, because of COVID, we kind of laid pretty low last year. So it gives us some flexibility, perhaps.
Yeah, that's true. We don't even know where COVID will be. So there's always a bit of a gamble in there. Okay, just scrolling here. All right. So we're going to adjourn this meeting. We're going to take, what time is it? 7:44. 5-minute bio break. And Lisa, just to confirm, we're coming back into this meeting link, correct?
Yeah, you know what? I counted that.
I can't.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, thank you. Okay, guys, mute and cameras off. See you in 5 minutes. I'm going to unload and come back in.